all gamers and every gamer, welcome to the latest edition of the Crisis Stream. Can I get a hoorah from the gamer army? Already seeing support in unforeseen numbers. Gonna put it on the screen. This is unbelievable. The Crisis Core, the membership, the willingness to ride into battle for the cause. Thank you so much, Sunday Page. Thank you so much, Sergeant Anthony, for being channel members for 24 and 17 months, respectively. How time flies. 2 years, Sunday Page. And we're just getting started. Honestly, we're just getting started. That's the best part. What is up, Mobile Ninja? Hoorah, gamers. Hoorah. As always, you can support me by becoming a channel member. You get access to the private Discord server. It's a cheap little monthly payment. You get to keep my lights on. You get to make the content better. And you get access to the Discord server. You get an unlimited stream of knowledge, exclusive scans from your favorite series, comics, video games, whatever. Whatever you want to know, I'm in there. I will let you know. Get information on upcoming uploads. You get amazing photographs of my excursion as of last month. And the link is in the description to become a channel member. You can ascend into member status for the duration of the stream. Any amount you donate is appreciated, is cherished. If you want to know power scaling questions, how strong is this character, who would win, if you want to know deep lore, if you want to know the intricacies of my videos, any amount, you will get an answer. The more you donate, the more thorough, the more in-depth, the more involved of an answer you will receive. With that said, let us continue. This is the Crisis Stream. This is the most cutting edge, the most relevant information in the power scaling and honestly pop culture community overall. This is it. This is the end all be all. My day has been pretty good so far. I have been AFK, as it were, doing the old family, the old family thing, the old holidays, you know how it goes. Everybody knows. And it's been good. It's been good. Rejuvenate, restore the power cells. I feel like I left you guys with a 1-2 punch knockout combination with a little uppercut in there, a little liver shot by the end with the 2 Resident Evil videos and then the Solid Snake versus Sam Fisher video right in time for Rainbow Six, which I've been playing lately. I've been enjoying the redacted mode. Easter went well. Easter with the family. Cannot complain. Always nice to see the family. So it was good. He is risen. If you're new here, look it up. Get right with it. End of story. But now I'm back. And I had a few days between traveling where for me I kind of need some runway. I need to know, okay, this isn't Because I grind. I have to grind. I need to be completely immersed in my work. I get easily distracted. It's true. I'm sorry. But before I left earlier last month, I already had this next upload, this next video totally, the audio is totally edited. So maybe even tonight, I'm going to go up in there and get to editing proper. But this stream will be my warm-up. This is a warm-up. We're getting back into it. Growing the ranks, reaffirming the ranks of the Crisis Core, congratulating the lieutenants and the sergeants, Sergeant Anthony, as it were. But with all that said, what have you guys been doing? What stories, what issues of comics, if that's what you're into, what video games, what movies, etc., etc. What has interested you? I feel like we're in a bit of a dry spell here. Often what I'll do is I will look up what are some big releases, what are some big games, movies, comics, you know how it goes, that are going to be coming out soon that I can thus prepare, research, make videos about when the iron is hot. But I feel like this month it's pretty barren. Like, what am I going to talk about? The Mario movie? You know, Mario 2? Next month is looking pretty sound, though. Next month is looking super busy. Final Fantasy lately, nice. Very nice. That's one of those series I gotta hit the old check mark. One day I gotta at least beat one Final Fantasy game. Starting off the stream right. Thank you, Mobile Ninja channel member, for the $4.99. Thank you so much for the donation. God bless you, good sir. Absolutely appreciate it. DC comic question. Who, in your opinion, is more underrated, Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter? I feel like Martian Manhunter, people, if you know anything about the character, you know that he gets compared to Superman pretty often. He's you know, Superman with more superpowers. He's got heat vision, he's got flight, super strength. If you look up how strong is Martian Manhunter, they'll say, oh, he rivals Superman, he might be more powerful. So I feel like if you know the character, he's probably not underrated. Green Lantern, though, I think you have to dig around a bit to find some of his more impressive feats. And then he's got the movie that kind of overshadows any of his aura, his hard-earned, rightly earned aura. You know, Green Lantern's done some absolutely crazy bonkers stuff. He's nearly entered the Speed Force. Superman's never done that. He's flying so fast, nearly entered the Speed Force. That's pretty crazy. Might be faster than Superman at their, you know, upper limits. And then yeah, I feel like people just don't put in the work to read like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern in particular. I think most people know the movies, maybe the cartoons, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say Green Lantern. I think Green Lantern is more underrated. I think Martian Manhunter is a bit more obscure, to be honest. So, but if you know anything about him, you probably know, you know, he's quote unquote more powerful than Superman. But Green Lantern, I think his feats. And then there's the whole Parallax situation. He became a super top tier. You know, Hal Jordan nearly threatened. He was like the next Anti-Monitor. You know, I don't think people really have clocked that. Who would win? I think Green Lantern, honestly. I think Manhunter, he hasn't had very impressive showings lately. Or really, I mean, it's been a long while. You'd have to dig around for something truly impressive. But Green Lantern, though, I mean, all that being said about how cool Hal Jordan is, he does have some limits, right? He just very clearly, he struggles with like General Zod in Rebirth. He also, Barry Allen and Wally West running through one of his constructs that he was using his full power, nearly broke his lantern ring. So Hal Jordan has a very very sturdy, very affixed placement among the Justice League tier or whatever, the tiering as it was. Manhunter is just kind of feetless, but in a generic sense, people know he's supposed to be stronger than Superman. Sunday Page. If someone is stated to have a perfect mastery of martial arts, what would that mean for the amount of fighting styles they know? Perfect mastery. It's a good question. A perfect mastery of martial arts. I mean, you could argue, just being very literal, that they are like the utmost highest skill level with at least 2, right? Perfect mastery of martial arts, arts being plural. I would probably look for a more explicit statement if I were to say, okay, they've mastered all martial arts, right? But maybe you could say somewhere in between there, somewhere in between absolute, total, all-encompassing perfection, mastery of at least more than one fighting style is what I would say. At least more than one, which, man, it's pretty high tier for a lot of verses. I don't know, you know. A lot of universes, they'll just say, oh, this guy's an expert in many, which many is like, what, more than 3 or something, you know? I've not watched the Mall show. No, I have no interest. Totally no interest. No interest in the Mall show. Excuse me. Let's keep the donos incoming, I think. It's been a while since I've had my brain picked. I'm eager. I've been getting a lot of various sources, buying some new guidebooks, getting them translated. So, got some cutting edge information. As always, I'm always trying to learn more. Always trying to get more of a grasp on fiction, as well as real life. Always trying to get a grasp on IRL topics, or, you know, IRL combat levels. What does it mean to be a martial artist? What does it mean to be a combat soldier, you know? Because I think the more that you gain an understanding of the threshold of skill within reality, when you see things in fiction, you can better understand, better put into perspective, you know, how much more impressive it really is, how crazy it is compared to our real world. Not Daredevil either. I have been traveling, and I've been wiped, but I have been looking at guidebooks though. Any thoughts on Captain America versus Deathstroke? I'm not super caught up on my Captain America. What I would say is, we talked about this a little bit when Chuck was last on the stream. I think that might have been my last stream. But Captain America would just admit, he's admitted pretty recently, like 2023, that he's not as strong as Spider-Man. And Spider-Man lately has been kind of dragging his feet a bit, you know, weaker than Wolverine. Holding back Wolverine can basically one-shot a going all-out, bloodlusted, enraged, strength, and boosted Spider-Man. Kind of an L. Apparently Peter's most recent amp, quote-unquote, that he got, his like quest to become stronger, amounted to nothing, I guess. Or at least it hasn't manifested yet. Whereas with Deathstroke, I mean, Deathstroke is a rival to, if not superior to, Batman. You know, if not slightly his superior. So, that's, if you look at my Batman versus Spider-Man video, I think that puts it pretty squarely into perspective. So no, I think Deathstroke has the definitive edge. I made Batman versus Captain America a minute ago, but I'm not sure how much the meta has really changed there. I don't know if Cap's gotten some crazy boost, but last I checked, he admitted he's weaker than Spider-Man, which is not cool. Favorite era of power scaling? Whenever I'm on, I guess. Whenever I'm on, to be honest. But no, I have a plan to watch Daredevil with Key Issues Garrick. My good buddy Garrick. Might have heard of him. My plan is sometime this week we're gonna catch up on Daredevil because we watched Born Again season 1. We're both big fans of the Netflix original, so we'll probably be peeping that soon. I don't know if I can stomach the mall show, sadly. But thank you for the $1.99 as well. And you are a channel member. A channel member who donates is just platinum status. That's just total platinum status. Absolute elite human capital. That's what we call that. But I don't want to so much spoil the dates that I've marked down. You know, these releases. Don't want to so much spoil what exactly I'm going to be cracking into. You can probably guess. You know, we were told Resident Evil sometime in May would get a mini game, which is certainly, I guess, some form of Mercenaries. Some form of the Mercenaries mode that previous games will have featured will be in Requiem as well in May. Safe to presume. But then that game is getting some kind of story DLC. I'd assume kind of late this year, I suppose, but that'll probably be my next big Resident Evil push. You know, I don't want to make videos when you know, I don't want to make them too early, right? I want to hit it just right where all eyes are on the series, as many eyes are on the series as possible, so I can capitalize on that. Lego Batman, that'll be exciting. There's always room for a Batman video. I think people always have an appetite for that, but that game is probably going to be that game's going to be pretty popular, I think. I think a lot of people are going to be playing that one because it kind of bridges generations. I think a lot of people are excited for Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. I know I will be cracking into that because you get to play all the way from, you know, Dick Grayson being recruited, then Robin, then Nightwing, you know. And who knows what they do. They might do something interesting with like the Dark Knight Rises era. You know, you could get some cool Nightwing stuff there. It's a Lego game, so it's not going to be crazy, but as far as the story and crazy moments. Most advanced civilizations in fiction. Did you have any thoughts on this by chance? Most advanced. You know, you could look at maybe the Isu from Assassin's Creed. They're pretty interesting. They're like a precursor race that they were very advanced. They had very advanced technology. Halo, I know, is a very common choice. Warhammer as well. Halo and Warhammer are cited a lot for most advanced, but I guess my personal pick, maybe if you haven't investigated it and you want to look more into it, I'd say the Isu. Assassin's Creed, that's what comes to mind. Yeah, the big two, like the Legion of Superheroes. You could probably analyze what all they've got cooking there. What's up, Pliskin, by the way? Nice to see you. Very nice. Always nice to see the channel members in full force. Big fan of that. Very big fan of that. How have you all been enjoying the Discord server? I was thinking of cracking into a movie maybe sometime here soon. In the old Discord server, but we chatted up basically every day about comics, about games. I think it's worthwhile. We had a guy in there. You're chatting about Resident Evil for a good long while. MGS scenario books, which ones? For which games? Like 1, 2, and 3? Because 4 and Peace Walker, those are very hard to get. Physically. They're very hard to attain physically. So which scenario books are you rocking with, bro? Movie night. Movie night might be incoming. Been watching a few movies lately. Nothing's better, honestly, than just chilling at night. Everything's quiet. Just got total peace and quiet. You just put on a movie. You put on headphones. I watched that Martin Scorsese movie Silence. Watched that on a big TV with my headphones in 4K. Nothing's better than that. Nothing's better than that. Who do you think wins between Wesker and Zeno? Resident Evil has a trend of the clones being stronger. I've explained that a few times now. I guess maybe it'll be worth reiterating if I do some more Resident Evil videos when the 9 DLC proper comes out. But yeah, I don't know. I'd go with Zeno, man. I'd go with Zeno. And people are going to say, oh, well, I'm sorry, bro. I get it. Wesker's more iconic. Zeno just showed up, but if you really consume the lore, I think it makes sense. Olga, yeah. I'm just not going to entertain that. That disturbs me. It irks me some. That will not be entertained for much longer. Hello, hi Emmanuel. Xbox 360 watch party, exactly. Those were good times. We all had that throwback old school, group. That 360 PS3 era friend group that just dissolved over time. All the scenario books accessed digitally. Yeah, they're all on the Internet Archive. Whoever posted those was a total goat. Well, they are going to be translated here soon in the Master Collection Volume 2. They're going to be translated and localized. So those were really, really cool. Those were really valuable for a time. But Yeah. Gideon is a fool. Gideon is a fool. Gideon thinks that Elpis was created to, you know, I don't know, disrupt the balance of the world. Why are we trusting Gideon all of a sudden? Somebody said X in plot. Therefore, what was said equals true. No, no, no. No, no, no. End of debate. Hated multiplayer. Yeah, I didn't favor it, to be honest. But I know that is a common phenomenon. You know, this is relatable. It's a relatable thought here. But yeah. No, of course people are going to argue for Wesker. Of course. Of course they're going to say Wesker. You know Wesker. You know, people know Wesker more. You know, they feel attached to the old Wesky, but Zeno's also taller. He also just height mogs. Unfortunately. See you, Sergeant Anthony. Yeah, exactly. Those, we're going to get translations for the scripts of those games for the first time. That's with the scenario books, that's really what they are, is they're the screenplays, the scripts for those games with, you know, some kind of, I guess, directorial explanations of certain conversations, of certain discussions within the script. Like director commentary, kind of. Yeah, we already know we're getting the 4 scenario book, screenplay book, I think is what they're calling them in the Master Collection, and a master book, so a book that breaks down the plot of each games of Peace Walker and MGS4, the plots, development history, whatever, and the database. So, the master books, in my opinion, that's the next big treasure trove that we're going to be mining through here with the Collection Volume 2. I think it would be cool if they updated the database. I think that would be neat, but I don't foresee that. I think they're basically going to just leave it as is, as was, but still very cool. Novelizations, yep. Yeah, I'm going through... I went through, you know, I'm rereading, I guess you could say, the Snake Eater novelization. Michael Brent, Link versus DC and Marvel. If you want that answered, you could donate, or someone else could donate on your behalf. But power scaling questions, you either have to become a channel member, which the link is in the description, or you can donate. And the more you donate, the more thorough of an answer you will get. But power scaling, you know, that's my job. I kind of got to keep it a buck. Kind of got to keep it a buck. It's just facts. Yeah. MGS3 novelization is cool. I've been thinking about the themes of the series and a lot of the references that, you know, allusions, analogies that the series makes, that Metal Gear makes, and trying to unpack a lot of those. So I've been thinking about the series in a new way lately. Might make a video essay type video about that at some point. How would Liquid do against Wesker? Liquid is just way stronger. Liquid's multiple times stronger than nuclear bombs. He's stronger than natural disasters, which would very easily be something like, earthquakes or volcanoes. Liquid would just absolutely uppercut either Wesker or Zeno, or both of them at once. They'd have to like infect him with something to win, which they probably can't do that. Probably also get blitzed. Hey, thank you for the $1.99. Appreciate it. Could Link survive? I think Link would he'd bully the street tiers for sure. Link is like a universal plus multiversal, depending on your definition, tier character. So someone like Captain America, they're not gonna be able to survive that. Link also has a few interesting hacks. He can seal souls in the Master Sword. He's got a lot of elemental abilities, so it's probably the case that someone like Iceman gets melted by like Din's fire. Nehru's protection is also like a multiversal shield. So the street tiers are not cutting it. And for like higher dimensional stuff, I mean, if you want to argue someone like Thor's Outerversal, there actually are some interesting arguments for Zelda. If you think Nehru created order outright, there was just the concept didn't exist. It was just like a total primordial chaotic world before Nehru created, like, because some translations that it suggests that she created logic as well, and Link has spells and powers and lore to suggest that he would scale somewhat to characters like Din or Nehru. So could argue perhaps Link has some claim to some outerversal level of power, but I think being conservative with Marvel, they would both be in that multiversal tier. Link, however, probably doesn't have the skill to keep up with someone like Thor. Link is just sort of a master of the various weapons that he uses and can fight master tier combatants, like Ganondorf's a master sword fighter. And Link, he's a master of swordplay, spears, shield combat, bow and arrow, archery, whatever, etc. But not to the same extent as these characters in Marvel that have mastered every martial art throughout all of time. This kind of nonsense. So that's my overall take on if you were to drop Link into a comic book world. Clears out the street tiers very thoroughly. Possibly has a claim to those kind of outerversal characters. If not, he would certainly dominate these kind of finite 3D fighters, or even potentially we have Link, one of the weakest, if not the weakest incarnation of Link, defeating beings that can generate their own hyperspaces in the form of demise. So take it literally, use the definition. It's beyond our third, 3 dimensions. If you think the 4th dimension is what is a component of kind of normal space, right? Like our observable reality, that time is the 4th dimension, and obviously time can be measured and observed similar to the nature of the 3rd dimension as we perceive it. Then hyperspace, a space beyond that, a space beyond normal space. If time and space are interlinked, then that would possibly be even a fifth dimensional feat, creating a hyperspace. But Link is definitely underrated. The Link versus Elden Ring video is pretty cool. Liquid also skill stomps. That's true. Yeah, Liquid. Deadliest member of Foxhound in that era, which probably would just include Revolver Ocelot. I don't know why it wouldn't. So Liquid would upscale from Ocelot, who at that point perfected his own version of CQC, rivaled Venom Snake in the 80s, and then trained in Foxhound, which is the most elite Black Ops unit ever. He would have gotten that training. And Liquid is deadlier than Ocelot, so we're definitely talking a good few tiers beyond Resident Evil skill, where they're just kind of like, you know, vaguely good at adapting, vaguely master level martial artists. You know, Leon's a master of melee. Very nice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whatever it was, the promotional little art book for Phantom Pain just said Ocelot is a rival to Big Boss, and the Big Boss that they're talking about contextually, right? It's Phantom Pain. Probably just means Venom Snake, especially like a pre-release source where everything, all the promotional material was just conflating Venom, you know, bearing the lead as far as Venom being a Big Boss's whatever duplicate body double doppelganger. So many snakes. So many snakes. Thank you for another $1.99, Michael Brent. Thank you. Put this on the screen. Captain Planet, the only Captain Planet scaling I know is he's like a high tier in the storyline of Punch Time Explosion, that like Cartoon Network Smash Brothers clone. You've got like Ultimate Alien Ben 10. I think that's probably the most powerful character there. So like, you know, he's potentially, he has like Ultimate Way Big in his arsenal. And Captain Planet shows up and like saves the day at the end. So Captain Planet might be like above, you know, the Dagon from Ben 10. You know, I'm pretty sure the Dagon is probably like a higher dimensional entity, right? So gotta remember everything about Dagon. I could probably do a cursory little glance here. Dagon. What do we know about the Dagon? Power to rule the universe. So, most powerful being in the universe, enslaved hundreds of dimensions. His power is called Infinite. Yeah, I don't know. Dagon's at least the strongest threat up to that point, right? Like above Agrigor, who we're definitely talking like solar system tier, right? Like that weird battery thing that he was using to channel the power of the Andromeda 5 that was gonna like erase 5 light years or something, if I remember correctly. So Entropy Pump would have destroyed reality within 5 light years. So that's probably like multi-solar system. So I'd say that Captain Planet might be like multi-solar, at least. Based on the very limited information I know. If Supergirl bombs, that'll be sad. I want DC to succeed, but I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen the Supergirl trailer. Maybe it'll be good, but that'll be a big test. Yeah, the thing about it though is Yeah, I don't know. I don't think randomly throwing like a CQC attack at Ocelot represents Venom Snake's like full skill. Just doesn't make any sense. Like he throws the guys at Mother Base and they just get up and salute, right? Like you can't kill them that way, or you know, I don't know. They just get up immediately. I personally, I wouldn't put too much stock into that, but and it's also likely. I mean, Venom Snake gets like upgrades throughout the game to certain qualities, like his stamina. I don't remember if his like outright durability, if there's like if there's a description or some kind of upgrade that talks about him becoming stronger, but you could argue that Venom Snake also improves throughout the game. It's basically in every Metal Gear Solid game, every protagonist gets stronger throughout, or does better against a villain early, or does better against the villain later on compared to when he fought them earlier. Another 199, thank you. Thank you so much. On the screen again. Ben 10 versus Sora. I think Sora dominates. Sora has so many different hacks abilities. Sora has so many crazy scaling chains. I mean, here's the thing is, I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, unless Ben 10 goes full Alien X mode, I don't even know how he stands a chance. Sora can, like, copy your abilities, make a million clones of you, or at least has magic on that level. Beats foes that can do that. He's got crazy scaling, but I'm not too knowledgeable on Sora. But from what I know about both characters is the very basic tertiary knowledge. I would say Sora wins hands down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not very compelled by that, personally. And it's kind of moot because, I mean, Venom Snake has statements of being an incomparable warrior during Phantom Pain. I think it's pretty clear that Venom Snake is the most capable guy around at that point. At least, again, at that instance, I would say he is superior to Big Boss. Big Boss might have surpassed him later. Surpassed him later in the MSX era. But Ocelot, I mean, Ocelot rivals him, so that's verbatim, right? So he could be a little bit better, could be a little bit worse than Venom Snake by definition. And then he just gets so much more skilled later on that I think it's kind of like we're splitting hairs on this basically useless era, right? Like it's basically a weird dark age in Metal Gear lore. It's like an 11-year period where nothing, I mean, a lot happens and it would be cool to get a game off of it, but like what does Ocelot do in those 11 years? Do we even know? Like, I guess, like, did he go back to do some Shasha Laska shenanigans? How much knowledge do you have on Godzilla in the Pokemon universe? I have a good amount of knowledge. If you want to hit me up with a dono, I think you've got a $20 dono in you, and you will 100% get authoritative level Pokemon and Godzilla knowledge. I can promise you that. I think you should do it. Let's see what you got. Maybe you're not built like that. I think you got it. It's like a Mantis, a man on fire. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the Phantom Pain novel, Mantis just completely, like, makes Venom Snake crap his pants, start vomiting, crying. And Man on Fire is just totally cannot be messed with.
What about their leader? He says he's Solid Snake. Snake died.
10, that's pretty cool. Thank you for the 10. Appreciate any dono. How far do you think Godzilla? Well, it depends on the version of Godzilla. If it's the Godzilla from the comic that fought Superman, and that Superman apparently is just as strong as main continuity, then he might dominate Pokemon. But if it's like the most popular version now, which is probably safe to say the MonsterVerse version, you know, that guy's probably planet level, star level, somewhere around there, and you got Pokemon's got crazy lore. You got Pokemon that you know, put Dialga and Palkia that represent and like created time, created space. They dominate. They dominate like probably any live action Godzilla. They just completely obliterate them. I mean, you have Pokemon that represent the sun, or you know, stated of the power of the sun. Crazy hacks abilities as well, like time hacks, time manipulation, siphoning life energy. Oh, I see. A bit of a 2-for-1 special. Interesting. Thank you so much. You basically, for 20 bucks, you asked 2 different questions in $10 increments. I absolutely respect that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of Pokemon are fodder. I'm not willing to say Godzilla loses to like the ice cream cone Pokemon or the trash bag Pokemon or, you know, all these randoms. So the bulk of Pokemon are kind of just random animals with like a gimmick, but there's like a huge gap where you have like beings that create a time or represent like nightmares, so it could just go in Godzilla's brain and, you know, curse his mind and make him crazy or something. I mean, but yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's like, even being conservative, like, there's a Gyarados, or not Gyarados, oh man, Gen 3 is a blind spot for me. Gen 3, because I was mostly playing Fire Red. You know, Rayquaza and Kyogre, they were like shifting tectonic plates. Pretty sure there was lore in that they might have even like they're gonna destroy the planet or something with their conflict. That was like the big threat, which maybe that's like more multi-continental based on the context. They're like shaking things, and you know, they represent like typhoons and tidal waves and earthquakes, and, like seismic activity. But even those guys, you know, they're not unremarkable, and then they have their Omega forms. Those might even give Godzilla a challenge if it's like multi-continental and then an amp. Might get him closer to planet level. But I would say, you know, most popular Godzilla would make a good way. You know, there's so many Pokemon that are fodder, honestly. Like 90% of them are just not hanging with it. Maybe they have an interesting gimmick that might press Godzilla in a specific way, but stat-wise, I don't think they're cutting it. But then you have the legendaries, like the true legendaries that are just like abstract, like eldritch beings, essentially. That if they appear in our world, it'll just become nothing. Like, I'm pretty sure, what is it, like, it's like the Pokemon version of Satan, like the counterpart to Arceus. But anyway. Then your next question was, how do you think Doctor Strange would fare against DC high-tier magic users? There's your 20. Love you, Crisis. Keep up the content. Hey, thanks, bro. Absolutely, thanks. God bless you. I love you too, man. Appreciate all the support. High-tier magic users, I mean, I think I mentioned this in a prior stream, but going off the crossovers, recently they kind of framed Constantine as Strange's sort of counterpart, which isn't a great look for Strange because Zatanna and Dr. Fate outclass Constantine. So if we're supposed to, you know, believe that those two characters were chosen for that crossover to suggest that they're like rivals, right? That their influence over the realm of magic is equal or, you know, comparable to, then you know, Dr. Fate would be superior. But as far as outright scaling, I mean, we know Chaos Magic, at least as of JLA Avengers, if we just want to stick to direct, you know, canonical kind of comparisons. Chaos Magic in DC is more powerful. It made Wanda like go completely crazy. She couldn't contain the power when first tapping into it. So that's another direct comparison to suggest that DC magic is more powerful. But as far as feats versus feats, it's probably just a shake-up. It's probably just pick your poison who has more versatile spells. I would probably guess Doctor Strange has a higher versatility. Yeah. I would say Strange is just more versatile. He's just a more storied character than Dr. Fate. You know, he's led his own comics, led his own comic series for many decades. Also involved in a lot of Avengers storylines. Dr. Fate's kind of relegated to like the JSA and Justice League Dark, maybe. Thank you so much for the 2 installments of $9.99. And then another donut. Let me put this on the screen here. A very classic power scaling question. Love to answer those as much as, you know, these more esoteric topics, I guess. Could Superman survive Marvel? Absolutely. Superman could survive Marvel. I think if Superman locked in, he could 1v1 any of the strongest Marvel characters. Again, to cite Justice League, JLA Avengers. You know, he beat Thor, and then everybody had to jump him. Everybody was like, you can't do that to Thor. And by that storyline, Aquaman's like, yeah, it's crazy how the heroes here are just weaker than in our world. They're just less powerful. And it's like, dang, they really said that. You know, totally canon crossover said that. So no, Superman would survive. Superman would run the show. And honestly, he would probably just eventually make the universe like affixed to his character, you know, like it is in DC. MGS5 Ocelot scaling versus Olga scaling. We are kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. Olga has literally like one fight, like one on-screen fight, and then just gets shot like a dog. Very sad but true. What's up, General Shepard? And V Ocelot just does nothing the whole time. Why don't they accept it? I don't know, because people have their favorites. I can't be offended because I love Big Boss and Raiden as well. Like, I understand it's just playing favorites, but Snake is the GOAT. Solid Snake is the GOAT. You know, what's interesting is Kojima, some of the interviews are hard to find. You know, obviously there's some information that he is only in Japanese or in kind of like very old magazines or whatever, but you can really find a lot of the rationale for much of Kojima's decisions and outlook. And, you know, he doesn't hide his philosophy. He doesn't hide, you know, what he believes. correlating like, all right, here's what the boss said, and here's what let me elaborate. He elaborates very often. He said that the distinction between Solid Snake and Big Boss, the thing that makes one more quote unquote human than the other, right, is Big Boss believed in the mission more earlier on, like he was more trusting. Which, of course, if you know Metal Gear, that trust is a weakness, right? So Kojima, when he says, yeah, Big Boss is more human, he means to say he's more fallible, in a sense. Which, of course, informs his villainy. Big Boss was introduced as a villain. That was his inception, and then everything since then is just an extrapolation of that conclusion. And of course, he gets a kind of redemption by the end of MGS4. But that was the distinction. No, probably not. High Diffa Tyrant. What is this bait? I'm trying to spike my cortisol here. Not gonna happen. Just gonna move right along after that. You've asked me this before, Kojima and Lucas. The more I don't know, Kojima has a quality for sure that's there's a lot of layers. I've been looking into that lately. At least one avenue of the symbolism that he expresses. David, Eli, Ahab, Ishmael, Adam, Eva, the Snake. In the MGS4 script, Kojima compares Solid Snake to Cain and Liquid to Abel. So there's just, that's an interesting lane to me. It's a very interesting lane. And there's a lot of depth there. And it makes you think. It sort of subconsciously elicits these comparisons in a Lucas-esque way, but Kojima would say, I'm not like Lucas. I did not think all this through ahead of time, so that gives Lucas an edge. That he just balanced all these ideas for decades and stuck to it, and it maintains all that. Thank you, Mobile Ninja. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. I love to see it. And have a good rest of your night. Yeah, as professional a soldier as he'd ever seen. Probably gotta put a little work in there for yourself. But by the tanker, he just considers her light work. Just the bottom line. All roads lead to Snake being that guy with the belt. He's dad with the belt. Going on for over an hour here. This is a little warm-up stream, but if anybody wants to really kick this into overdrive, we could see perhaps a purple dono, maybe a red dono. I don't know. I'm just saying. I was away for a few days. I feel like I've given you guys ample opportunity to save up. Save all that in your piggy banks. It's crisis time to collect. Kidding, of course. Appreciate all the support. But it is kind of true. I'm only half kidding. Only half kidding. Maybe 3/4 kidding, actually. Certainly, the truth of the matter is that talking for an hour, it's been a minute for me. It has been a minute since I've been at that level. Entertaining for you guys for that long. Is it true Ari Leon was nerfed from the beginning of the game from how he handled the Requiem gun when cured? I mean, he was nerfed from the start because he was infected at the start. Then he builds up, like, fatigue on top of that Elpis would not in any way mitigate or cure. But I don't know what is the comparison with the Requiem gun. Oh, thank you. $10 here. A little extra cheese. Dante versus Link. Dante, controversial character, right? There's that weird mobile game that people were falsely translating to suggest he's like this higher dimensional character. I think based on that alone, I would say Link, because Link actually has that. Link actually has like some just valid higher tier scaling. I don't know. Is Dante that much more skilled than how I described Link earlier? Like, it's just kind of like you have a few weapons throughout the games. You got like your guns and the scythes and swords. And it's like, sure, he's a master of all those weapons, but I mean, I don't know. And it depends on which version of Link. Twilight Princess Link probably has the best hand-to-hand combat and like that wrestling that he uses against the Gorons. Probably the best hand-to-hand fighter. None of the other Links really have anything akin to that. I know Dante has hand-to-hand skill, so maybe that would be a deficit. Kind of wild. I mean, if he's kind of wild, he might have that advantage, and I'm sure there's some universal. I mean, the fact is the Zelda gods accidentally created. Let me look at the statement again. If it was hundreds or thousands of universes that they accidentally created. Let's see here. TheOldZelda.com. TheOldClassicZelda.com. Let's see, where is it? Millions. I was downplaying it. They accidentally created millions of alternate worlds. So, and that's in reference to Termina, which Termina is a parallel reality. So if Hyrule or whatever, if that is a universe, which as far as we know it is, if it is a universe-sized construct, Termina is parallel, meaning it would have to be equal in size, then Link would be like millions of times universal. But that's my take. I don't know a huge amount about Devil May Cry. The 9D scan is outdated. Yeah, that's what I'd heard. But yeah, I don't know. Based on what I know, I would say Link. Millions of times universal with potentially scales to gods that created order outright. But, or like logic. Actually see, what's the statement here? Yeah, so it said before they created everything, in the Japanese version of Ocarina of Time, the Deku Tree uses the word for reason. In this world, as in before they created it, this chaotic, primordial universe, there was no reason, or alternatively logic. There was no reason or form. So this was a reasonless, possibly logic-less, formless reality where the gods then created order, possibly logic as well. Depends how order is translated. Depends on the meaning of the original kanji. But if it's closer to something like logic or form or then pretty high tier. I don't know if Dante has something like that, like truly conceptual. Thank you for the 199 again. I prefer Aang to Korra. I never finished Korra. Shin Megami Tensei. Interesting. Yeah, as much as I know about Dante, it would have only been from DMC anyway. One-handed the gun. Yeah, you could probably use that metric. What game is he in his prime? Well, they say he's in his prime in RE9. So I would say, I mean, the best we've ever seen him, because he's depressed in 6. He's also nerfed pretty early on in the Death Island movie where he's not depressed anymore. But I would say 9 because he's not really depressed. By the end of 9, post Elpis, I would say that is the strongest Leon, the most capable Leon we've ever seen. But I would still say he's not technically at his peak physicality because while he's sick and dying, he's been getting thrown around and kicked and tossed through walls by these strongest BOWs we've ever seen. So his fatigue would be very great by the end, in my opinion. Thank you for the 10, by the way, Mad God. Downloading a bunch of art books. They are good. Shinkawa is an absolute legend. No doubt about that. Another 199. Let's go, bro. Sentry versus Superboy Prime. Sentry's a jobber. Superboy Prime is a goat. Superboy Prime can fist fight the Batman Who Laughs and nerf him so that he's not at his peak form when he fights Wonder Woman. Superboy Prime can do that. Meanwhile, Sentry gets ripped in half by Null. So, zero diff. I'm sorry. Superboy Prime dominates Sentry. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's a freaking fact. Superboy Prime is goated. He's got his redemption arc. He's about to be the main Superman. It's gonna be the good stuff. Very much looking forward to that. Yeah, Century's just a jobber at this point. I think he didn't even get anything cool after that movie came out that he was in. I don't think they really like did him any fan service. Yeah, it did happen. It was canon. It is canon now. So no way around that. Punisher versus Nightwing beats Daredevil, and Daredevil just completely humiliates Punisher. I mentioned that in my Nightwing versus Daredevil video that Punisher is just casually dealt with by like a fatigued Matt Murdock. So yeah. Not close. Actually, not close. Absolutely not. Punisher or Judge Doom? Judge Doom? I don't know. I don't know Judge Doom. Sorry, I haven't read Judge Dredd at all. I've only seen the Carl Urban movie many years ago. Yeah, I don't think he's getting touched. Which is consistent. Like, Batman in the crossovers would consistently just dog on Punisher. Like, Chuck Dixon wrote Batman Punisher, the Bruce Wayne version, and just had Bruce Wayne just totally dominate Frank. It just was not close, so... We all know what Chuck Dixon thinks about Nightwing. Sam Fisher has never fished, I don't think, canonically. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about Judge Dredd. Beat Black Panther, Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, I don't know, bro. If he's supposed to be the absolute best fighter in Marvel, then I don't know. I can give it to him. Black Panther, though, we talked about that in the Discord. You see that? You see, we're kind of discussed that. I can find out which channel it was. Yeah, you can bypass Black Panther's armor by using techniques where he dislocated shoulder. Taskmaster did it, and then Deadpool can just hurt Miles through his armor. So I don't know. It seems like you can kind of just punch Vibranium hard enough, or whatever. Not that hard. I don't know. Depending on your persuasion, and damage it pretty thoroughly. Let's get a fat dono. I'm feeling it. feel that it's time. Gorgon? Is that the Inhuman guy? Daredevil beat up? Gorgon, someone else. Who am I thinking of? Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I've never heard of that character then. Oh, I'm feeling a big dono. I'm feeling a huge donation. All the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. What's happening? The railgun that killed Nemesis. Yeah, I mean, Nemesis is the strongest BOW at that point. You know, Talos is introduced afterward. He'd be stronger. But no, yeah, what's crazy is that the Requiem handgun's like way stronger than that railgun by now, because it just messes up Gideon, who's an enhanced tyrant, or enhanced Nemesis rather. Thanks everybody so far for the support. If you're watching this stream, give it a like as well. Yeah. Oh, very nice. Oh, very nice. Very nice, Mad God. W in the chat. Everybody give that the utmost respect. Give that a heart and give it a thumbs up. Mad God, the undisputed GOAT. Thank you, good sir. See, I felt it and it happened. Getting better at this. Getting better at this sixth sense. Thank you so much for the 50. Joker from Persona. Gonna have to do some armchair power scaling. I'm losing my mind. Straight up, this dono is just de-gourding me. I've lost my gourd. Let's look at the old Joker, VSBW, Sora. So Joker's got 1,000,000 abilities. He is outerversal and immeasurable. Okay. Sora is low complex multi. Infinite speed. So based on that alone, Joker should stomp. Guess if we want to go more into it here. He also got insane hacks abilities. Ceiling and power absorption.
These are the things I will pass
I
on.
feel like Sora's dealt with stuff like that before, though. Perception manipulation can slow down his perception of time. Fate manipulation. I don't know if Sora has a resistance to that. Resistances. Resist death manipulation. Possession. Correction. Poison. Seemingly no fate resistance, fate manipulation resistance on Sora's part. Someone would maybe try to argue that. Change fate, that seems to be Joker's entire thing. Invulnerability negation to entities devoid of time and space. Can negate their invulnerability. It's pretty good. That's just his base form as well. Obliterating opponents with a light that erases them beyond death. Probably also cooks them. Force field negation. That'd probably be useful. Emphatic manipulation, fear manipulation. Some of those things probably resist. Durability negation. It seems like I would say if Joker can interact with his soul, like destroy his soul, I know that there's obviously Kingdom Hearts it is about souls and spirits. On top of the conventional kind of durability and just being way stronger, don't know if there's much more I can say. Smash Brothers, though, I wonder. The Sora, I mean, I guess Sora can passively like resurrect the entire Smash Brothers cast. They're all turned into toys. They all have their energy taken from them, and Sora just by flying around, light is able to restore them to life. That's pretty crazy. Sephiroth is also crazy top tier. And, Sora, I believe, fight in. Him and Sora fight in the lore of Smash Brothers as well. At least if you consider like the cutscenes, or when they show like a gameplay trailer for the character and they show the gameplay characters that he's fighting, they make it a point to have Sora fighting Sephiroth. But Smash Brothers Sora might win, but canon versus canon. Canon versus canon. It's probably Joker by a landslide. Sora passively returning all of the Smash characters to being animated. Life energy back is pretty insane. That's my take. I don't know how much more I could say. I would love to break it down more for you for 50. I don't know. Is that sufficient, you think, Mad God? I could do a little bit more digging, I guess, into the characters, but It seems like Joker severely outstats him, outspeeds him, and outhacks him, and you have to resort to Smash Brothers, which Smash Brothers is just not canon in any way, shape, or form. Those are just toys. Those are just toys. There's some kids' toys fighting. Top 5 most skilled. Most skilled. Probably Black Canary, Cass. Nightwing, Batman. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, probably number 1. Wonder Woman, Black Canary, Cass, Nightwing, Batman. IMHO. Survivor Laura versus Leon Kennedy. Survivor Laura. If by Survivor you just mean those 3 games like the comics, Leon would win very thoroughly. It's not until the Netflix show that you get that kind of like nuclear bomb scaling. And technically that's not Survivor. It's like the reboot or what, I don't know what term, unified. It's the unified timeline, which is kind of a retcon about it's a retcon regarding Survivor. It's like incorporating the Survivor games into the wider timelines, and somehow also include it's a mess. It's an absurd mess, but purely based on those 3 games, Leon would stomp. He's just way stronger and faster. What did you say about the spider sense in your video? Which video? Remind me. Like, what do you mean? Like, what about it exactly are you wondering? Sora or Seiya Pegasus? I'm sorry. I'll versus Battle Wiki. Saint Seiya. Thank you for the $1.99 though. I wish I knew more about some of these universes you guys are into. Maybe I'll research some of these. I said that Spider Sense is not really sheer precog. It is just danger. It just says like, alright, something's gonna happen. I'm about to get hit by something, or not even that. And then sometimes it also just doesn't help at all. He'll be surrounded by like an obvious threat, and the Spider Sense go off, and it's like not helpful. So Spider Sense is not this get out of jail free card. And DC characters are a lot better. It looks like they're similar tiered, but Saint Seiya just has far fewer hacks abilities. Yeah. Similar tier, speed tier and attack potency, but Sora has way more abilities and resistances. But with all that said, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I honestly wish I could hang in there for a bit longer. But like I said, it's been a minute since I've streamed. My stamina, and I exercised a bit earlier today. I am wiped. I am exhausted. But thank you so much to channel members. Thank you so much, Sergeant Anthony, Sunday Page, Mobile Ninja, as well, for being channel members. Thank you, Michael Brandt, for all those little donations. I appreciate it. They do add up. And then as well, Mad God for being a god, honestly, being a deity about it. Appreciate the big dono. I appreciate everybody for watching, everybody for stopping by. Thank you for the support. And I'm going to get working on my next upload tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to set aside my whole day. I'm going to really entrench myself in it and get a good amount of work done tomorrow. With all that said, thanks so much, and I will see you all next time.